Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing alright. I'm doing absolutely fine. You catch me in my afternoon chair. Usually gets the sun, but you can see it's a bit cloudy. It's actually just rained. Been a couple of weeks since the last one before I went on the long weekend, and then since then I have been doing stuff. So you can probably see just over there to the right of the seat, my evening seat, is the new Hydrangea Seemanii. So we will work our way over there. We've got a couple of highs and lows again. You can also see I'm just sizing up the strut going across for the pergola at that end as well. So yeah, let's have a little plod around. I guess that means I'm going to have to get up. So not much in this corner to really worry about, but the only thing that I was going to say is how well these Nephrolopis cordifolias are doing. Absolutely fantastic ferns. I think they were in my top 5 anyway. I think just looking at that, that might be top 3. If it survives winter, it could be vying for the top spot along with the Cyathea couperii. So yeah, but it's like a ladder fern, obviously, like a Boston fern and other such things, but all the other ladder ferns I know of really don't like any sun. And what happens is, if I can get in close to one of these ends, like this bit here, if the ends get hit by sun, they burn off and stunt the growth. But this one is full sun, and that's probably tripled in size this year, and I've only had it, what, probably 7 months, something like that. So, and it's only been in since March. So yeah, doing really well. That we'll see what happens with them in winter. Other than that, down here, really the only thing of note is this thing is, it just looks messy, doesn't it? This is the Hypulpis punctata. It looks a little bit crazy as well, so I'm not convinced that that is long for this garden. But anyway, working our way over here, you can see how well that other Nephrolopis is doing there. The Lonicera hildebrandiana still going strong. You can see this thing's finally climbing up at this end, and where the growth point stopped last time, it's actually grown out quite a bit from there. That's where is it? Yeah, it kind of stopped there and then has split off into these. So that one suddenly started climbing up the pergola again, and this one's coming off this way. So what I might do is, where they all sort of stem out from, a foot down from where that meets the cross brace on the pergola, I may run a little bit of wire just up there on the angle so it can get up onto the pergola and start wrapping itself round. But we'll see on that. I need to put the little bit of fence post at the top and put the 2 eyes back in as well for the wires to run up. But other than that, we're all doing well down here. I haven't quite moved the Atrata yet, but I have made the flower bed out the front, but it's literally like 10,000-year-old clay that has never had any organic matter in it, and it's just really rocky and like that. So I've dumped a load of all the bags that I had there where that wood is, running across over to the Willemmy. I had a load of bags of stuff there, so I've just shoved it in there for now. I'll buy 5 bags of manure and chuck it in there, and then just leave it to fester over the winter and see what happens with that bed next year. But yeah, anyway, so going on from that, that means that after half a day's of back-breaking labour, I cleared out all this old potting compost and have shoved the Willemmy where he's going to go. So that's not exactly it, but that, what I've done is I filled the hole with about 3 inches of like aggregate or chopped up rock, because obviously I don't want to kill the Willemmy straight away, so I've made sure it's really free draining in there. But that's where I'll probably plant him next year. And what it is because this will be a patio area. I don't know if you've seen them, sorry, I'm not tall. But you can see this is all an octagon, yeah, with the black edging and then across the wood and then that in there. What it is that the patio that's going to go in there, if you imagine where the washing line is the centre, and there's going to be a 2.4 metre wide octagon patio in there. These seats are actually, as you can see there, they're about 60 centimetres in from that black edging. So the patio itself is actually going to pretty much butt up to the 3 seats there on the right. But when it reaches this part here, that part there where the wood is, there's going to be like 80 centimetres between the black edging in the edge of the patio, which means I've got a lot more room to fill. Here's obviously a main walkway, so I'm not going to put anything in here, but I thought I could probably plant that Wollemi in the ground there, and that'll be a nice spot for it, and it's not particularly in anybody's way there. I just haven't got any room for it anywhere else at the moment. So yeah, but we'll have a mull on that over winter. But you can see it looks a lot better. I've even went to the trouble of using a bit of gravel just to make it look so I was going to say half decent then, but it's not there. But yeah, just in case you didn't get a good look at it last time, there's the Wollemi pine. Hopefully he'll grow really well next year and I will not kill him. So going on from that, Tetrapanax is still doing all right. This thing's going to look really nice if it survives and goes up next year. A couple of the leaves will probably come off in the next couple of weeks, so we'll get to that when we get to it. Other than that, I've just tidied up this bit there because it's got big rocks there, so I don't want the kid falling off the climbing frame and sculling himself, so I've changed that out. Yeah, other than that, things are doing well. The Pilostagia has finished flowering now. So I'll chop all those flowers off, chop all of the last year's flowers off, and hopefully next year that will grow quite nicely. Getting on to what could be DEFCON 1 being activated, as I've been keeping a close eye on this fig tree with all the scale bugs, because the thing is, last year the garden suffered really badly with aphids. But I didn't do anything, I just left it, and now this year I haven't had any because there's been so many hoverflies that have obviously found that there's loads of prey here for them, so I've hardly had any aphids this year apart from a short burst for a week or two. Now the same thing's happening with these scale bugs, so you can probably see already all over the leaves how many ants there are all over this fig tree. See all these little scale bugs. So I did a little bit of research on them. These are actually the female form of the species, and once they lock into where they're going to live, they lose their legs and obviously set up camp on the stems and things like that. Now, like I said, because there's such an infestation now, I was hoping that some form of predator was going to notice and set up camp here so that I don't have to worry about doing anything for them. And I would have just left the fig tree to it basically, because it's deciduous, so it will lose all its leaves. I'm going to give it a good trim and chop off a load of the branches anyway, not a load of the branches, but a few of them, just to train it correctly. You can see where I've been messing around there trying to tuck it down behind the fence, but I'll have to tie it in rather than tuck it in. But yeah, the only thing that is slightly worrying is that there has now been a bridge built between the Fatsia and the fig tree, as you can see there. And although there's nothing on this leaf, to my eye, if I can zoom in, that looks like a scale bug there, maybe two at the bottom there. None of the other leaves seem to have it, but this sort of stuff, the new growth, is struggling. So I think we've just entered DEFCON 1, which basically means that I'm going to get very happy with the pruning on this fig tree. I'm going to cut every leaf off. I'm going to scrape all of the branches, and then I'm going to cut a few of the branches, and then I'm going to cut those leaves off the Fatsia, because I really don't want them making their way over there. Because the trouble is like, I was reading up on predators for them, and it's the usual suspects, but also birds as well, I take it, would have a good go on them. Now the only trouble is there's loads of cats around here. We've got one ourselves. I'm not a great fan of cats, it's the missus's cat, but yeah, anyway, that prevents sort of birds coming into the garden quite freely. So yeah, I think the fig tree, and I was umming and ahhing about leaving it in there anyway, so it may be that if I chop everything off and it dies, it may be just one of them. If it survives, then it survives, and we'll go from there. So yeah, that's going to be one of my next jobs. But yeah, just look, you can just see there how many ants there are all over that thing. So natural control has not worked. Going on from that, another funny thing that happened, I should say, is that I was messing around trying to make this fence post on the right level, because it leans into us. So I jammed a bit of wood in between the one with the ferns on the left and that, and tried to force it out, but I dropped the wood, and you'll never guess where it landed. Straight down there, and broke the crozier that was coming out. So that's a good that's a good thing. So hopefully I haven't actually damaged the Dixonia. But But yeah, over here this Cyathea leaf or frond is finally, it's still not quite out. You can see the ends have just got a little bit of a tassel to them, so that's getting on nearly 6 weeks that's taken that frond to come out. But the thing is getting absolutely beastly. Just look at the size of that down there. So we've got 3 already ready to come out. Whether they'll come out this year or not, I don't know exactly how these things work, but it's obviously only been in the ground for, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, so it's probably adjusting to light and temperature, and it'll take a year or 2 before it really gets going, I suspect. So but yeah, we'll see if I can keep that alive in the winter. So getting on to the main event, we have the Hydrangea Seemanii. So that's what the flowers are going to look like. It was actually I wouldn't say relatively difficult, but it wasn't about as much as a lot of the other climbers, but it's evergreen. I was going to get 2, but it says on it that it'll grow 10 meters high by 4 wide, or the other way around. So I think 1 will probably do, because all it needs to fill is from that fat cedera there on the left across to where that pilostagia in the corner is going to go. So we're only talking 2 or 3 fence panels, which is what, 5 or 6 meters maybe, not even that. So yeah, I'm going to chuck him in either to the left of the Fatsia and between the Fatsia and the Dicksonia. There's nothing there at the moment, or to the right of the Fatsia there's a Polypodium vulgare that we never look at down there. He's just been space sitting for probably a year now, so he's done his job, and I can put it in there and it can climb up and run across. So yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention is that I virtually finished the fencing. You can see that up behind the fig tree there, and going across behind that as well, top half of all of that lot, and then across, and I just need 1 more to do the top of the tetrapanax. So yeah, that's coming along. Just need to do the trellis now, like this here, carry that along, and that'll all be done, and all my climbers will have somewhere to climb. So yeah, happy days. Yeah, so my next job is to run these wires that are running along the bottom half of these fence, just finish off all of that, put the vertical ones in. I'm also going to those, because the giant honeysuckle likes twining rather than running up the trellis, or the wood. So where I've taken all those eyes out and all of the wire that I had running around the octagons inside the trellis, I'm going to put them all back in. So yeah, it's always fun doing stuff and redoing it and then redoing it again just for a laugh, isn't it? So yeah, but it's got to be right. So yeah, those are my plans. Finish off that little bit and just tie the wires in at the top, and then just need to get the Clematis armandii for up there behind the tetrapanax, but we've got those 3 deciduous ferns in there, so I might not put that in until next year, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I think the next video I do, I've got my annual cocktail party that I host coming up in a couple of weeks time, so I'll get everything all bang ready, get it all set up with the croquet and whatnot all set up, and we'll do a nice final tour then, because I'll give it all a good pruning and hopefully sort everything out by then for the next one. So yeah, anyway, quick little look around, looking good. Tip of the day, if you can get a Nephrolepis cordifolia, get one. Anyway, have a good day. Ta-ra.